Hey there, it's Tony Butler. Today we're going to talk about something most brand marketers, especially marketers in the B2B space, have forgotten all about: emotion. And maybe even more important, the primal urges that influence our every decision. Almost every decision that you make, that anyone makes, especially buying decisions, involve emotions and urges. And incorporating them into your marketing can improve results at every level. One of the biggest problems of corporate content is that it's dry, it's emotionless, and it never connects with the audience. So we're going to go through, how to do it, what are the primal urges and those main emotions that you should be focusing on as a marketer. But hey, before I do that, please click like on this video, and if you haven't done so yet, please follow the channel. I'm going to share with you everything you need to build a content marketing system for your business that will help you scale. Whether you're startup, SaaS, manufacturing, e-commerce, hospitality, B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. Primal storytelling is a content marketing system for humans, and that makes all the difference. So let's get right into it. When we think of the word emotion in the context of a business, it's almost a dirty word. We're taught from a young age not to show our emotions in public, and certainly not at work, and we keep them bottled up inside. It's almost a cliche to think of a big business as a faceless, emotionless machine, and it's this emotional restraint that's led most companies to ignoring emotions altogether. There's even an acronym to help people prevent themselves from making a bad decision. It's called HALT. Never make a decision when you're hungry, H. Never make a decision when you're angry, that's the A, or you're lonely, the L. And definitely don't make a big decision when you're tired, the T. Okay? Your state and your emotions matter. The old adage, I'll need to sleep on a decision, it's good advice. It gives your mind a chance to process, and a quiet, rested mind has a different, hopefully, more emotionally beneficial state. It's an odd state of events for businesses, especially for marketers, because humans are primarily emotional, and being, emotional beings first, logical second. It's odd that businesses have forgot about emotions. We feel how we feel, and influencing someone to make the decision that we want, which is usually to buy our product or service, that requires that we touch them emotionally before they buy. And whether we're conscious about it or not, they're going to feel something about us, about our brand. And we've got to be a positive influence on that. So if every important decision a customer makes is based on emotion, why are we not paying more attention and strategizing emotion? I think it's mostly because we're not taught how to do it in college. Companies don't have a system or process that incorporates emotions into their content creation. It's a problem. But before I go into talking about a system and how that system works, to incorporate emotion into your content, here's two other ideas that we gotta throw into the mix and understand. The first one is this idea of emotional gradients, and the second is primal urges. An emotional gradient. This is a very important idea. A few years ago, the University of Stanford, they did this large study. They identified 27 categories of emotions, okay? As an example, when we feel happy, angry, or excited, we rarely feel just that one emotion. We almost always have mixed emotions. So like think about when you're graduating high school, or your kid is graduating preschool or whatever. You're probably excited you're graduating. Maybe you're also a little scared about what college is going to be like and if you can make it. And you're sad about leaving home and your loved ones. Okay? This example, 3 different emotions all mixed together. It's not just one feeling, it's the mix of emotion, and it's complicated. Like think about when you're baking a recipe and one cook adds a lot of sugar and another adds less sugar but more butter. Similar recipes but a different mix, okay? You're going to have slightly different results. It's also helpful to think about primal urges, okay? This is something I kind of came up with. I think of primal urges as the vestiges of our animal instincts. Humans we have the vestige of instincts, but we've overcome an instinct. An instinct it's genetically encoded behavior. It's the squirrel who's gathering nuts for the winter. They can't decide not to do it. They're going to gather nuts. When winter's coming, the geese, what do? They fly south. They don't fly east. They don't fly west or take a vacation. They fly south. We find the same behaviors around gathering food and mating rituals, in all animals. Every animal has instincts. But for humans, we've overcome our instincts. We're able to overcome them by deliberate thought, okay? We don't have to fly south for the winter if we don't want to. Our instincts aren't dead, but they've been relegated to an urge to do something. We can decide not to. We have the urge to do something, but we can also decide not to. We can decide to do something totally different. With our emotions, they help determine nearly all of our behaviors. And then when you mix those with primal urges, it's a powerful, powerful influence on our decision making. Okay? There's an old anecdote about a handsome, well-off man who's trying to decide between two women he should marry. They're both well-educated, beautiful, and accomplished, but he just can't decide. So someone suggests to him, hey, let's give them both $5,000 gift each and see what she does with the money, and that'll help you decide. So he does. He gives the first woman as a gift, he gives her $5,000, and she spends all the money on herself. And the second lady, he gives her that gift, and she buys a wonderful trip for two to take them to a romantic location. So who does he marry? Neither of them. He marries his secretary, who's fantastically endowed. Okay? It's a ridiculous story, I know, but it illustrates a point, is that emotion and primal urges enmeshed with those emotions drives behavior, even if it's completely erratic. Even if it makes no logical sense, emotion will rule. So for a brand that wants to begin thinking about how to improve their marketing using their knowledge of primal emotions, the first step is to understand what they are, okay? You got to start to think about emotions and urges. So there's lots of human emotions, lots of urges, but I've narrowed it down to just a handful of each that if you focus on these, they'll point you in the right direction, okay? So for the primal urges that are important for marketers to consider, the first six, they follow Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So food, clothing, shelter, safety, protection. And the last one is sex, okay? And then the last three, they're more uniquely human. Curiosity, spirituality, and significance, okay? The last three, they're different. They're uniquely human urges. Some animals do display a low level of curiosity, but it's nowhere near the depth and extent as humans. Our curiosity is just shy of being obsessive. It's one of the reasons secrets drive people so crazy. It's a primal urge to want to understand not just one thing, but everything about the universe, every detail. The last two urges, spirituality and significance, they're completely human because they really have to do with the future, and they also have to do with this idea of considerations of why behind life. Is there higher meaning, and what is my significance within it? Every human culture that anthropologists have discovered had at least some aspect of a spiritual life, a god in some instances. They all believed in higher power. Even today, with modern science, spirituality still plays a big role in the lives of billions of people. So the other idea to keep in mind is this idea of status, okay? Kind of different than the emotions and urges, but it's related, okay? All of those first six urges, they take on a different meaning and more important meaning when you relate them to an individual's status within a tribe, within a subgroup, okay? Status, it's a major motivator. It's why people will go to great lengths to ensure and increase their status within a group. So think about the car that you drive. Why do you drive it? Well, you need transportation, but more than that, it's a social signal to everyone around you. Same thing with the house you live on, which provides shelter. It's not just a house for shelter. It's also a sign to the world, like how well are you doing? Is it, it's just a lot there. Status, it's a major motivator. So most people are a member of one or more of a subtribe. It's made up of their demographics and psychographics. The people at work, the hobbies that they do, family and friends. As a marketer, we think of each of these groups as kind of a subtribe. It's nothing more than an identifiable group, and we categorize them. So what we want to do is we categorize them into each of these groups, and then as we're looking at the emotions and we're looking at the urges, we also keep in consideration this idea of, does this help improve their status? Okay, is it increasing it? All right, so now that we've kind of got some context, let's go through what are the most common emotions. So there's dozens and dozens of emotions, but I've narrowed it down to a handful that you're going to use much more often than the rest, and the ones you should keep in mind at the top of your mind. So I've already covered it a little bit as an urge, but it's also an emotion. That's curiosity. We just feel this need to know, okay? Then the other ones are envy, lust, love, excitement, nostalgia, surprise, and fear. Now, I'm not going to go all through every single one of these right now. You can look them up, you can think about them deeply. But if you focus on those emotions and the urges that I've already outlined, you're going to be way far ahead of where you were before. Now, obviously, there's many more emotions than that. You're not going to try and target every emotion. What you will do is just identify a handful that are right for your customer at every stage of their relationship with you. If you have a sales process, ask yourself the question, what is my customer feeling at this stage? And then more importantly, what is the feeling that I need them to have in order for them to buy? And that's where you're trying to move them along the path. Sometimes it might be a feeling of security that you're going to be able to solve their problem. You're going to do what you say you do. It could be a feeling of increased status within their group. You'll add to their sex appeal, their wealth, or maybe you'll increase their health, all of which will increase their status in some way. So what you're trying to do is go beyond the superficial, go beyond just the surface, and strike at the heart at what motivates them, okay? If you can find just the one or two emotions and the one or two primal urges related to what you do, that why your market will buy, that'll help inform all of your content, okay? It'll make all the difference in the world for you. Okay, so there you have it. Producing valuable content that targets your audience's most primal urges and emotions. It's a powerful way to connect. Go back, look at this video again, review the emotions, review the urges. And of course, if you're interested in a full content system that includes defining the tribe and identifying the urges and emotions from scratch, that drives people to action, you might consider checking out our Primal storytelling system. There's nothing like it in the world. It's a proven formula for delivering great results. So I definitely encourage you to do that. Hey, but before you go, I want to leave you with one thing. If you're struggling to build out a content marketing program for your business, or you're not sure where to get started, or you just want a little extra direction, share a link to your website in the comments. I'll take a look. I'll give you some ideas on where to start on a value theme, free of charge. You can also message me on Instagram. It's Anthony L. Butler, or shoot me an email, anthony@candooideas.com. I answer all my own email. My assistant doesn't do that for me. I look at every single comment on here. And right now, there's not a lot, so be the first to start messaging, and you'll get some special attention. Okay, until next time, it's Tony Butler. Be well.